Usually on Positives, we like to take a look at bad video games and find 4 good aspects of them. But today, we're going to be doing something different. See, a little while ago, Konami decided to claim one of my streaming videos for no other reason than the fact that they could, and I hate that. This company has been doing such terrible things lately, from firing classic video game creators and just making horrible conditions for everybody to work in. So today, this is my revenge against you. Konami, we're going to find the positives in why it would be so good for you to go bankrupt. Let's find the f***ing positives. Before we begin, you gotta understand, Konami was a very important company, and they made some of the best games around. In fact, I've got a couple of friends that might have a couple of things to say about Konami and how cool they used to be. You know, people like Joe and Dave from GameSack.
Yeah, Shane, even I liked Konami. I mean, who the hell wouldn't like Konami back in the day? They had great games like Turtles in Time. Who the hell wouldn't like Turtles in Time? They had awesome games like Axlay. Who doesn't like Axlay? Everyone loves Axlay. If you don't like Axlay, you're not even human. And what else did they have? They had Castlevania Bloodlines. This game is awesome. Most Castlevanias back then were. And they also had Acme All-Stars with the Tiny Toon characters and Snatcher. Wait, hold on. Anyway, Konami back in the day, they were awesome. Anytime they had a release, everyone would look forward to it, you know, because they generally made really, really good games. But nowadays, not so much. In fact, nowadays, you can't even go a couple of days without hearing more bad news about Konami, how they're, you know, treating their employees bad, how they're treating gamers bad, how they don't care about their franchises anymore. They just don't care about anything.
To me, Konami, back in the late 80s, early 90s, was a premier game developer that I always was interested in finding out what games they were making, because I knew that it's going to be, usually had a good chance of being awesome. You know, I mean, games like Contra, these are some of the best memories that I have, you know, growing up gaming. I mean, Contra, games like Castlevania, this was probably one of the games that really got me into gaming. I mean, I remember playing this game at a friend's house and just remembering the awesomeness from the music to the level design and everything that it had to offer. I was just wanted more, and that really solidified me as a gamer. And then, of course, you know, who could forget games that never made it to America, like Rondo of Blood. I mean, just truly, this was the highlight of Castlevania for me and Konami, when I could see how well they could develop a game and make it just a complete experience.
Konami in the NES era was a freaking powerhouse. They brought some serious games to the table. When you think of some of the most classic NES games of all time, you think of Konami, Contra, Laser Invasion, Gradius, Bucky O'Hare. The list goes on and on. Konami was definitely a force to be reckoned with. Each of the games brought that unique Konami feel, that quality sound that you know it's a Konami game when you can hear the soundtrack. And also the gameplay, of course, the solid controls. These were well-made games in a library that had all sorts of third-party development crap. Konami was a force to be reckoned with.
One of my all-time favorite Super Nintendo games, one of my all-time favorite co-op games is Zombies Ate My Neighbors, which I'm always going to forget about Ghoul Patrol because it stands in the shadow of Zombies Ate My Neighbors. This game took all the classic Universal monster inspirations, put that in there along with a lot of the 50s black and white shit that you saw, and then stuff like Jason Voorhees and Chucky from Child's Play, and put them into something where you're running around as Zeke, which that's who I always picked because, I mean, he had 3D glasses and his hair was up like Wayne Static. Which I miss you, Wayne Static, but That game was fun as hell. So many damn stages, so many bonus levels, just running around, shooting living hell at things, going and saving the same ass neighbors over and over again who were completely oblivious to their surroundings. They're out barbecuing, you have to go and save that one school teacher who's giving you an F. I'm like, leave that bitch there, she only gives you 10 points. I always was happy when she got killed, by the way, so somebody could be like, you're pretty awful. I don't give a shit. Let her die. And you know, somebody's gonna end up having to go and call the state about the fact that they're just leaving kids wandering around. They're all happy and shit, and especially that one gigantic baby that you have to go and fight and just squishes you flat. Like, what the fuck's going on in this neighborhood? CYF, that's what we need. We can't fuck around anymore. But Zombies Ate My Neighbors, one of the best games that they ever made. Ever.
So to prevent Konami from claiming this video, we're not going to be using any video game footage from anything that they own. But I am going to say this. When I was a kid, Konami was one of the most important video game companies I ever knew, because they created one of my all-time favorite games, Jackal, which is one of my best games ever on NES. In fact, while everyone else says they like Super Mario Bros. And Zelda and Metroid and whatever, this game for me is the one that sticks out because I played this more than anything else. But we're kind of in a weird spot now because this company is just so evil, so bad, that they don't even seem to care about the history that they kind of generated over these years. Now look, Konami, I get it. You're a bastard evil company, you don't seem to care about anything anymore, and that's great. Burn your bridges somewhere else. As soon as you brought this onto my channel, you start playing by my rules. So let's take a look exactly why we think it's so good that Konami should go bankrupt. So to start things off, I think it would be good if Konami went bankrupt because they wouldn't be able to abuse their IPs anymore. Lately, as everyone's been paying attention to, Konami has been turning all of their game franchises into pachinko machines. And if you've watched this show before, you know how much I hate pachinko machines. And the fact that Konami would think that people would want to turn Silent Hill into a pachinko game, well, that's insane! Nobody wants that. And I fear for the day that Metal Gear Solid goes that way as well. But I know for a fact that pachinko machines are not that valuable. They cannot be making that much money from them. If they keep taking IPs, things that are established video game franchises, and turn them into these weird metric ton piece of shit games that are just gambling, well, no one's gonna care about what they do in the future, and they won't make money from them. These IPs only have value as much as they're able to make games based off of them. Use them as properties for what they originally intended for. If they turn them into anything else, like let's say bottles of water or clothing lines, it probably won't work. Dear God, there is a Metal Gear Solid clothing line, isn't there? You know what, that's probably Konami as well too, but regardless, the first positive is that Konami would no longer be able to abuse their IPs. Hideo Kojima is a fantastic video game developer and one of my personal favorites, but to see what Konami did to him was unbelievably remarkable. Think about this. Konami is just a brand. They're just like a company. They don't really actually represent anybody's values or ideals besides the people that actually run it up at the top. And Kojima wasn't ever at the top of that ladder. There was always somebody else above him. When a company decides to piss on their employees, that's when you get a problem. Kojima is Konami. Like Shigeru Miyamoto is Nintendo. These guys make these products that actually make these companies money. So when they decided to basically toss Kojima aside and screw up the production of Metal Gear Solid 5, that was really offensive. So, the next positive is that if Kojima goes away, he's going to be able to create a lot more better games somewhere else. These creators that work at Konami right now will generate far better products for another company. So, the second positive is that creators at Konami will get to make better products somewhere else. Bankruptcy is a tricky thing, but one of the things that could happen is that a company can purchase them out, take everything that they own and rebuild them. And I think this is something that could possibly happen. See, if Konami goes bankrupt, there's a chance that a better company like Valve or I don't know, Sony, maybe even EA could purchase them and turn them into a completely different company. Do you know how bad it's gotta be when a really bad company from the past like EA has turned themselves around where they could be vilified as a hero for something like this? Damn, man. Look, if Konami does get purchased by someone else, there's a chance that everything could be fixed and everything could go back to normal. But it's probably not gonna happen that way. Still though, that could be a thing. So the third positive is Konami could possibly get purchased by a better company. One of the possible outcomes of Konami going bankrupt is that all of their assets, everything they are, would just be broken up and sold to multiple different people. And that could be really, really good. Think about a company like Valve getting a hold of Silent Hill, or Ubisoft getting a hold of Metal Gear Solid, a company that has basically wanted to make a Metal Gear Solid game ever since creating games like Splinter Cell. I could imagine a bunch of other companies, like independent developers, just so many other people, taking the concepts and ideas from all the IPs that Konami owns and is sitting on and make them better. Could you imagine if someone bought the IP for Snatcher and re-released it on some other platform? Like actually make a high-definition version of Snatcher that was on the Sega CD but now on like the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, or the Wii U? Could you imagine what it would be like to have Metal Gear Solid's Twin Snakes come out again for a different platform? If a company like Konami wasn't holding things back, we could see all these IPs live again. And really, these are valuable properties. Dudes, it's Metal Gear Solid. Castlevania, Silent Hill, all these games are amazing and people really love them. And if Konami could go away, if they could lose everything, and a bunch of people bought these things up, that could be the greatest thing to ever happen. So the fourth positive is that all of their IPs could be purchased by other people. Look, guys, do you think I want to be here? I actually like Konami quite a bit, and to see them fall this hard and this fast is remarkable. I'm not happy about Konami doing the things that they're doing. I'm not happy about anything that they're doing. And quite frankly, I think it would be a benefit to everybody if they went out of business, if they lost all of their assets, if they just got purchased by someone else. All these positives I mentioned here are a good way for this company to exist in the future, because as it stands, they can't exist the way they are now.